What is up, guys? This is Spencer Davis here on the first episode. Lines at University of Miami. Did I lose you guys there for a sec?
Technical difficulties.
Right All right. Well, let's just jump right in. We're going to talk about the Super Bowl. What did you guys think? What do you think about Donald and Stafford getting their first rings and just general overview?
It's well deserved, man. I mean, Donald set out. I mean, anybody who saw that post-game interview right after they won, it's hard not to be moved by that. I mean, the man set out on a mission to win a ring, and he achieved that through incredible work. And there's a reason that there's no debate between who is the number one defender in the NFL. It is Aaron Donald, and he just hit the nail on the head for why he is the most dominant defender in the NFL, and he got the ring that he very well deserved.
I spent the entire second half thinking, wow, the Bengals are really going to do this. I was shocked. I picked the Rams before, and I was like, oh, my God. Joe Burrow got in. The defense is stepping up. But credit to Matt Stafford. He put one last drive together when it mattered the most. The Cooper Kupp, of course, came up big time as a reason why he won the MVP. And at the end of the day, the Bengals offensive line could not block that front seven. And it showed on that last drive where the Bengals had a shot to tie it up or even take the lead at the end.
Yeah, I mean, especially for Stafford getting that ring, it was almost like all these years of that built up frustration being at an organization that hasn't won. He finally got his chance, and he went down in that second half. They, despite all that momentum that the Bengals had at the start of the half, the Rams, they just stayed with it. The defense was huge. I think in the third quarter, there were 5 sacks on Burrow, which is a record in the Super Bowl for one quarter. So yeah, I think it was definitely deserved and a really impressive win for the Rams.
Yeah, I mean, Donald had 2 sacks. I think he really, like Julian was saying, not just made a case for best defender in the league, makes a case for one of the best defenders of all time. But yeah, it's huge to see him get that first ring. He and Stafford were celebrating pretty big at the parade today. I saw Tom Brady tweeted at Stafford telling him to throw some water in there. Is Stafford a Hall of Famer? Carl's asking.
I think not.
You think not? Not yet?
No. Did you see what Richard Sherman had to say about this?
I did not.
I believe it was Richard Sherman, but he basically is, pouring water on the Matt Stafford for Hall of Fame case. He's never been arguing, which, I think it is a legitimate argument. He's never been the top quarterback in his position. He wasn't even MVP in the Super Bowl. We all know that Super Bowl MVP is usually a quarterback award. This year it wasn't. I mean, who knows where the Rams would have been this season at the end of the year if it weren't for Cooper Kupp. I mean, I don't think so.
I don't think he is for a lot of the same reasons Julian just lined out. But I think he will end up getting it. I think the voters will, they'll see once he retires, he's going to be in the top 10 in every major passing statistic category ever. And he's going to have the ring, and who knows, maybe he can get one more or at least make a couple more playoff runs. I think at the end of his career, Hall of Fame voters will look back and get him in. But I can see why a lot of people are saying that he shouldn't deserve a spot.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Like, it's hard to give it to him right now, I think. But the Matt Stafford story is not ended. I think Sean McVay already said today, him and Aaron Donald. I think there were some rumors around Donald retiring, but I think they'll be back, and they're going to be instantly one of one of the top Super Bowl contenders again for next year. So,
and I don't know who's challenging that team in the NFC West, because there's already Kyler Murray trouble in Arizona. I mean, you have Jimmy Garoppolo. Who knows what's going to happen with San Francisco? Who am I missing? I'm spacing out right now.
The Seahawks.
The Seahawks, of course, and then they're I think of the NFC, the rest of the NFC West. I mean, they're the least of the threats to the Rams.
It's going to be interesting to see if Trey Lance can make any run to take that division. But from what I saw this year, I mean, he's a work in progress.
Yeah, Aaron, you made a great point about Donald at the parade saying that everyone was chanting "run it back," and he was like, "Yeah, why not? Let's run it back. Like, nobody's stopping us." So I think it's interesting to see, the boys got the sauce flowing through them, and then the truth comes out. So maybe we'll see Donald back here in LA next season.
Yeah, winning it too in front of your home fans, I think it's what that does for morale is huge. I think after we also saw Von Jefferson running to see his newborn baby, another player proposed right after the game. Spirits are very high right now. So why would they end it now?
Absolutely.
What you're saying about Aaron Donald being one of the best defenders ever, what he's done in an 8-year stretch, 7 first-team All-Pros, 3 Defensive Player of the Years, and now the Super Bowl ring with that dominant of performance, it's got to be talked about. He's definitely the best defender of the last, at least 10 years, 10, 15 years that we've been seeing. So yeah, it's a real debate now.
I think my top 2 would probably be Aaron Donald and Lawrence Taylor of all time. I mean,
always got to throw
Taylor. Yeah, Taylor's got to be in the conversation. But like you said, an 8-year run. Donald's gotten every award you can think of on the defense.
I agree with those two. I think Von Miller is somewhere in there.
They got thrown.
I mean, what he's won two Super Bowls. He was at Super Bowl MVP in 2015. Peyton Manning wouldn't have 2 rings if it weren't for Von Miller and that Broncos defense. So
he's definitely up there, but I don't know. I put maybe
I'll put a couple more guys
up there. Maybe Polamalu,
Reggie White, 199.
What do we think about Cup winning the MVP? Because I personally did not see him having any shot at winning the MVP unless he put up like Gabe Davis numbers did against the Chiefs, I believe it was. I didn't think he was going to get it unless he got 4 touchdowns and 200 yards. But 2 touchdowns was enough tonight.
Yeah, I mean, he was giving the Bengals problems on it. He had a little bit of a spurt where he wasn't doing as much after Odell went down, which led to some questions if he was helping open things up. But overall, in the second half, especially in those that final drive, he was unguardable. He made it Eli Apple the meme of the NFL for the past couple of days. I mean, what he's done in a season overall is just absolutely absurd. You really got to talk about him with the best receivers in the NFL and one of the best seasons ever. And it's going to be interesting where he goes from here. He's always had potential in years prior to this season, but he's had a couple of injuries, but no one could have expected this type of season from Cooper Kupp this year.
Yeah, I mean, not at all. Winning the receiving triple crown, yards, touchdowns, receptions, offensive player of the year, and now Super Bowl MVP. I mean, this really is one of the greatest wide receiver seasons we've ever seen, if not the best. And he joins Jerry Rice as the only receiver in NFL history to do so, which is pretty unbelievable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Jerry Rice did that over his whole career, and he did it all in 1 year.
Yeah, that's a great point. Like you're saying earlier, Dan, regardless of if you think he's the best player in the league right now, because that's debatable based on guys' builds. Kupp's kind of small, but it's definitely statistically probably the greatest individual season by a receiver ever.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Stafford throwing that second interception, I think the rest of us, I think all of us, along with a good amount of America, probably were like Dan was saying, it's like, oh my God, the Bengals are about to do this thing. But, I think you look at Kupp's numbers in that game, I don't think Stafford would have a ring if it weren't for Kupp. I don't know if he'd even have an NFC championship right now.
That's a great point. And like we said, this Rams team is very stacked, but Tanner brings up a great point. It's so hard to win 2 in a row. He's not going to touch the Rams. What do you think coming out of the AFC? Would you rather take the Chiefs or the Bills? Personally, I love the Bills, but I want to hear what you guys have to say. Aaron, what do you think?
I'm going to agree with you on that. I'm going to go with the Bills. I think they really deserve to beat the Chiefs in that divisional game. Josh Allen just looked so good in that game and in the playoffs too. They just dismantled the Patriots in that opening round. So yeah, I'd go with the Bills, but I think you definitely can't forget about the Bengals.
I mean, I'll take the Chiefs. I still believe they're the best team in football. I think Patrick Mahomes is still such an incredible quarterback who really looked terrible. He just completely folded in the second half of that AFC Championship game. But I don't know. There's something about that team. Andy Reid, that won't happen often. I think the Bengals made a good run this year, beat some teams they shouldn't have, but I expect the Chiefs to be in full force once again next year.
I think I got to go with the Bills. I think Josh Allen's coming back with a vengeance next season. He wants that ring. Patty has that ring. Of course, the Chiefs are going to come out firing. I think we're going to have a much better season than they did this year in the regular. But Josh Allen wants that ring. He wants to get to the big game. So I'm all in on Buffalo.
Yeah, it'll be interesting if we see them play again in the playoffs next year, how that turns out, especially if it goes to overtime again. So we've got our AFC picks for next season. How about NFC? The Bengals are looking to be plus 2,000 to win the Super Bowl next season. I mean, for a team that was, like Julian said, got that second interception in the third quarter, and everyone thought the game was theirs. Would you guys like the Bengals coming out of the NFC next year? The AFC,
wow.
Excuse me. I'm tripping.
Coming out of the AFC, well, I would still take for the Bengals. I'd still think the Chiefs. Like I said, next year, I think it's come down to the Chiefs and Bills. I think Josh Allen and Mahomes are the best 2 quarterbacks in the NFL. And I think the Chargers, if anyone was to be a sleeper team, would be one I would look at. But I think it's 2 powerhouses in the AFC. It's going to be tough to get by either of them.
Yeah, excuse me. I'm sorry about that. I got tripped up there for a second. I don't know what the lines are on the Chiefs and the Bills, but plus 2,000, I'll throw $10 on that. Why not? I mean, Joey B coming back. The look Burrow had on the field after he lost that game, just kind of looking out at everything, gave me like just vibes like he's gonna just thinking like I'm gonna make sure this never happens to me ever again. So yeah, plus 2,000. I'll take that all day.
I want to.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Aaron. Oh, were you saying something?
I wasn't. You can go first.
No. All right. I was just gonna say that I was all in on the Bengals this postseason. I wanna buy in so badly, but it's so hard to get back to the Super Bowl. It's so hard to win the Super Bowl. It's like you had a touchdown lead with chances to capitalize on that in the Super Bowl 4 days ago. I want to believe in the Bengals, but I just can't. I don't think that. I think they'll win the AFC North next year, but I don't think they're getting past the divisional round.
Yeah, I think the Bills and the Chiefs, they're just too strong.
The Bengals missed their chance.
Interesting. So we do know that the Bengals have the 3rd most cap space heading into next year. So they definitely have some room to improve. Julian, you seem like you don't think they're going to improve that much. But where do you guys think they can improve? Where do you think they'll be looking to in the offseason?
I mean, it's got to be offensive line. I mean, after that game, it's got to be their first priority. I mean, there's a couple good offensive linemen coming out in the free agency this year. The big one is Teron Armstead, the big tackle from the New Orleans Saints. He's been amazing for Drew Brees in his final years and the Saints again this year. If they can get that to lock down Burrow's blind side, I can go a long way to start transforming that offensive line to something a little bit more respectable.
Yeah, and I think you gotta target a cornerback as well. I think Cooper Kupp, he just had Eli Apple's number that whole game. And I think a good option could be Rasul Douglas on the Packers. they gotta focus on that defense and that offensive line, which is obvious.
I think other than the, obviously Eli Apple is not working out. He hasn't worked out for a while, and that's a good Bengals defense generally. But I think in a lot of moments they skated by. So obviously the offensive line is the big issue, but certainly their secondary is something they can look to improve on.
I agree with both of those. The offensive line was abysmal. I mean, some of the 2 last games of the season, some of the worst numbers in AFC Championship and Super Bowl history. But if we look at that last drive where Kupp and Stafford were tearing away, there was a little holding call that some people did not approve of. What do you guys think about the reffing of the Super Bowl this year?
Well, personally, I think it was atrocious. Not so much in the first half. I think I appreciate always when the refs when ref ball is not in effect, and it really wasn't. They were letting the kids play, so to speak, in the first half. But to open the gate right out of the gate in the second half, that ridiculous. I mean, I was rooting for the Bengals, but I think T. Higgins threw Jalen Ramsey down to the ground by his face mask, and there was a ref feet away. If you look at the replay, not a flag throw, not even any conversation about it. I was rooting for the Bengals, but there you go. There's a huge missed call in the biggest game in American sports, and then to go back to late in the fourth quarter, Logan Wilson called for a hold on what was just simply good defense on Cooper Kupp. And, those were both touchdown resulting drives. So I think they missed these big plays in the biggest game of the year. It's ridiculous.
Now, this might show how low of expectations I have for referees at this point in the NFL because, they make everyone sick at this point. Every game, I feel like there's something wrong. And I think that's kind of goes to my point is were there missed calls? Yes. But like Julian said, there were ones on both ways. There were major penalties, but I feel like every game there's always going to be a call or two that has an effect on the game, and everything's more kind of amplified on the game's biggest stage. It was awful. I'm not making any excuses for it, but I feel like it's something that kind of comes with a football game at this point. It's kind of tough to really kind of blame on the refs for deciding a game by any means.
Yeah, and I think the worst part about it is just watching a game like that, such an important game. When you're looking out for a flag to be thrown after every throw, it defeats the fun of a game like that a little bit. And I think it comes down a lot to inconsistencies with these calls. I think they sometimes feel pressured to make a call in a certain situation, and then that ultimately ends up getting it wrong for them.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. The fact that on base, almost like any passing play, when there's the slightest bit of contact that we have to, as an audience and as players and fans at home and at the stadium, we have to wait a few seconds to see if there will be a flag or not, is just ludicrous in my opinion. So I think this has been NFL officiating has been too awful for too long.
I couldn't agree more. It's tough to watch games decided by bad reffing or a coin toss. Personally, I don't like either of those factoring into the outcome of an important game. One game that will not be determined by the refs is the NBA All-Star game that is coming up this weekend. Just want to look at some of the contests. We got the dunk contest first. I personally am looking at Jalen Green and Obi Toppin to go back and forth and just put on a show here.
I'm really excited for Obi Toppin. He's not the greatest basketball player in the world on the court in a regular game, but it's plainly obvious to everyone that watches him. He can dunk that basketball. He can do some crazy stuff, and I think he'll be the most exciting player, and I assume he'll be the one that comes home with the trophy.
Yeah, I'd have to go with Jalen Green. I think he's easily the most explosive out of the three, and then I think JTA could surprise us all too.
I'm a New Yorker, man. Give me Obi Toppin. I'm not a Knicks fan, but I feel a New York camaraderie with Toppin. So I believe at 6'9", he's the tallest of the four to be competing in the contest, and he moves around with incredible agility for his height. So, give me Toppin.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. Obi moves like he's a guard sometimes when he's not so much sometimes when he's playing on the floor with the Knicks, but in the dunk contest last year, I mean, he looked great. I think he got second place, so we'll see if he can come out and take it this year. 3-point contest. I was shocked to see the contestants. I, of course, was looking for Steph Curry, but I don't know. What do you guys think? Who do you think is going to take it this year?
Give me the big man. Give me Karl Anthony Towns. That guy, why not, right? We're in a new era of basketball now. I mean, he's consistently actually a very good three-point shooter. He's one of the better three-point shooting centers really of all time. I mean, his only competition, I guess, is really players that play now. I mean, he's a fun player. It's tough to get as much media attention in Minnesota, even though they are a pretty fun team this year with him, Ant-Man, and D'Lo. Why not? Give Cat some shine.
Love that. Julian, or Aaron, what do you think?
I'm looking between two guys. Definitely the first being Fred VanVleet. I think his 3-point shooting has been pretty unbelievable in the last few years, ever since that Raptors playoff run. And then the other, this would be my pick to win it. I think Patty Mills is going to take it home. I think he's been really good for the Nets this year. Shooting's been really solid. And I usually like a guard to win it.
Julian?
Yeah, you know what? This might be an unpopular take, but give me 3J McCollum, man. I love the Blazers. I think this guy's been underrated for too long. I don't necessarily think he's, he is a little bit. It's hard not to argue, kind of playing in Dame's shadow over there in Portland. But I think this guy's been underrated for too long, and it'll be cool to see him, win some hardware over there at the 3-point contest. So give me 3J McCollum all the way.
Interesting. I think we got 4 different picks here. I'm taking Luke Kennard out of Duke. Why not? I used to watch him play at Duke, so we're gonna.
I'm not so sure how he got his name on that list, to be honest.
Because he's a walking bucket. That's why. All right. Anything else on 3-point? I'm excited to see Patty Mills as well, but I want to see Kennard take it away. Aaron, you were talking about the new clutch challenge.
So that's I think they're doing that. It's a 75th year anniversary special. So it's 4 teams of 2, and each teammate has to go around making 5 iconic NBA shots. First, the Magic Johnson hook, then the Charles Barkley top of the key shot, then the Dame logo shot, Reggie Miller from the wing, and then a Ray Allen corner 3. And I didn't see too many names I liked in this competition besides Tyrese Halliburton and Desmond Bane, who I think will win it. And I'm pretty sure there's also 2 G League players competing, which is really cool as well.
Yeah, I believe that's Fanbo Zhang and Michael Foster Jr. for the G League.
That'll be really cool. And I think that's also shedding some important light on the G League. There's 4 all-stars this year that played in the G League. You got VanVleet, DeJounte Murray, Rudy Gobert, and then I think Chris Middleton. Yeah, so I like how they're doing that.
Yeah, that's a fun challenge. It'd be cool to see these young guys throwing up classic shots. As far as the actual game goes, who do you guys think is going to win, Team LeBron or Team Durant? I know we kind of talked before. I think Team LeBron's got a stacked team. Personally, I'm just kind of excited to see Ja Morant and LaMelo in their first All-Star games.
Yeah, it's always fun seeing the younger guys kind of play, and they always seem to play a little harder too, because it's the first time they do want to make an impression. I'm sure we're going to get to see some awesome passes by LaMelo, and I'm sure guys like DeJounte Murray and Ja Moran are going to make the most of their first opportunity. I want to pick my guy Joel Embiid and Team Durant, but I mean LeBron has never lost one of these games, and he's got Stephen Curry and Giannis Antetokounmpo it's kind of hard to bet against a team like that.
Yeah, that's a pretty crazy big three there.
I would probably have to give it to Team LeBron. I think he always has seems to have the better team, and I think the level of these games are kind of dropping every year. So I don't know. I think it's more of a focus on having fun. So maybe those young guys on Team KD could pull it out. But I think you got LeBron, Giannis, Curry, Jokic, Doncic, Harden, all Donovan Mitchell. Like the list just goes on Team LeBron. So I'd probably have to give it to them.
I think the sensible choice is Team LeBron. Not that I don't think that NBA All-Star Game is going to be having too much betting going on, but if I were betting on the NBA All-Star Game, I think the sensible thing, if you're looking to make some money, would be Team LeBron. But for me, like of those 10 starters on either side, my favorite player of those 10 is Ja Morant, and it's his first All-Star appearance. I love this kid. Like Aaron said, I think the young guys are going to be explosive out of the gate. So maybe wishful thinking, but I'm hoping for a big game from Ja Morant and Team KD.
Definitely, I think that's not a bad prediction at all. Ja is kid just floats, man. He's so fun to watch, and why not put on a show in the NBA All-Star Game? All right, guys. I think we got through everything. Thanks everyone for tuning in. And hold on, we got one more. Why were the Canes just -2 against Louisville tonight? I wrote an article on that this morning.
I was looking at that. The Miami Hurricanes closed though with 97% of the money on them, so it's a little nerve-wracking there. It seems like Vegas knows something that we don't, which is never a good feeling for our basketball team.
I know. I got a text from one of my good friends about the line. He was like, "This line scares me, but I'm hammering it." You just can't. I mean, I was doing some research today. Louisville has lost 9 of 10. They've lost 6 straight. They haven't won a game since January 19th, and they haven't scored more than 70 points. They've only scored more than 70 points twice in their past 10 games. So
that's what they want you to think.
Yeah, exactly. These
are the type of games where those legal books make all their money.
Yeah. So we'll see how
and plus Miami. To add to that, I mean, to add to why that's even more confusing. Us Canes were 10-4 against the conference. You look at Louisville at the numbers; they're 5-9. It's hard to argue with that.
You're right.
Absolutely, and it is hard to argue with Canes up 27-15 with 8.5 minutes left in the first. So
that's great to hear.
Love to see a Canes W on Canes Takes. Thanks, Carl. Thank you. All right, guys. Unless anyone's got anything to close, any final thoughts on the Super Bowl or the All-Star Game or Canes basketball, I think we'll wrap up, and we'll see you next time for Canes Takes.